my actual eyesight is there's a high drive, deep center, go, 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 we're out of here, say ya, playa.
Just like they drew it up in Hollywood, Caladros, the 3-2, swing and a miss! And the Audubon Green Wave have upset the Kingsway Dragons! And this is it for good! The Audubon Green Wave are back in the Final Four! A dog pile on their side!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to DW Broadcasting's coverage of men's varsity.
From our entire crew, we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one, folks.
Jersey and number 17 overall in the entire state. Today we welcome back Coach Kevin Crawford, who coached that team. Now he's with Eastern. We won't hold that against him today. But I would like to take this opportunity to welcome as many of the former players that came here today to help us celebrate that victory and that great season. And without further ado, I'd like to turn things over to Coach Kevin Crawford.
Hi guys, it's wonderful to be back here and celebrate the team that I coached back in 2013, 2014. I have a job where I get to kind of act like a kid all the time. I'm coach a sport, coach a game with high school kids, and it really is a pleasure to do that. It was particularly a pleasure to do that at Pitman. This is a great community. Small town, kids play all three sports all the time. They do the right thing all the time. They raise your kids in this wonderful community. And this group of basketball players that I coached a few years ago, 10 years ago, really amplified and exemplified exactly who Pitman was, and they really built a legacy for themselves. It was a wonderful group of kids to work with. One of those things where if you win a state championship, the bond lasts a lifetime, and we really still kind of reach out to each other and text each other and check out how everybody's going. I know that this group of kids are very successful because they grew up in Pitman and they played team sports and they realized that the group and the community is more important than me. It really were we people, and it was just really awesome to be a part of it and be a part of that team. Let's give it up for the 2013-14 team. All the coaches from that team are back today. Come on out, coaches. Jeff Clauder, Jeff Smith, Matt Healy, Billy McCaffrey, and Bob Fisicara. I want to give a shout out to Jen Smith. Jen Smith, still the trainer here, was the trainer of the 2013-14 boys basketball team. Also want to give a shout out to, this 2013-14 team would not be there if it wasn't for Kevin Gibbs, Eric Todd, Luke Dixon, Dylan Colgate, the kids that played before them. So give it out. I know Dylan's here. Dylan Colgate and that group of kids. Thanks for all you did for Pitman basketball. All right, going through the list, there's a couple guys that couldn't be here today. Just going to call them out. That's David Derby, Scooby Gibson, Kyle Collinsworth, Andrew Sawyer, Tyler Wisniewski, and Matt Spicer. Clap it up for those guys. First guy was a senior. He is now an assistant professor at Rowan University. All these guys that grew up in Pitman, they all showed up on time. They got along with people. They all have good jobs. They're really, really nice kids. Drew Davenport, come on out, Drew. Next guy, very successful business person in the area, was a heck of a high school basketball player, Jay Amwig. Next guy is a successful business guy in the area. He flips houses. He also DJs with his little brother on the side. That's David Collinsworth. Next guy, one of the few leeches that played here, all right. This guy is a state trooper. He's married to Nicole Lindner, who was the manager of the basketball team. He just bought a house in Pitman. Typical, great kid, great family. That's Kyle Leach. All right, our three-star players. First guy, two-time national champion at Villanova University. Great player, did a heck of a job, scored 1,500 points here at Pitman High School. Tim Delaney. Sweatshirt still fits. Next guy works for the NBA G League. Was a heck of a player at the University of Pennsylvania. They made it to the NCAA tournament his senior year. One of those people where I kind of tell my team all the time, you got to have some dog in you, right? You got to be one of those fighters. And this guy, I remember October 12th, 2014, like it was yesterday. It was a night that we played Point Pleasant Beach. They were the #1 defending state champions that year. They had a kid who went on to play at Notre Dame University. And our kids just would not be denied that night. We upset them, and a huge part of that game. Next guy is Darnell Foreman. And last but not least, probably the smartest person in the gym. I was his high school history teacher, and he was way smarter than me. I gave him straight A's because I felt like a dummy in his presence sometimes. Scored 1,000 points, had a full scholarship to Lafayette College, played basketball with former Eastern player Matt Klanowski. They made the NCAA tournament also. Very successful businessman. He's an accountant in the area. Eric Stafford. We're going to take a quick picture. Best of luck to all the teams tonight, and thanks very much.
Yeah, we're good. Well, that was a nice pregame ceremony there for the 2013 to 2014 Pitman Group 1 state championship team. Remember, this group of guys in this school, small town, only about 400 kids in the school. You don't get much better than this. These guys won a couple of championships in the late 90s. Joe Crispin was there before he played in the NBA for a couple of years, and then they came back and won over Bloomfield Tech in 2014. But Pitman always puts together a great squad. This is a school that can play any sport over 500. They've won state championships in a litany of sports. They had a dynasty in field hockey in the 80s. They won the baseball state championship in 2010, a cross-country state championship this decade. And it's unfortunate because our mic wasn't working for our intro, but what I was saying was the weather outside is frightful, but the energy tonight is delightful. It's the Eastern Vikings and the Pitman Panthers. They're getting their final layup lines in. But, talking about these two teams, Kevin Crawford, he was the Pitman head coach when they played and when they won the 2014 state championship. So that's why these guys are playing tonight. They haven't played since 2014. Eastern won by 6-50, I think it was 64-58. But the important part about tonight is not who wins or loses, but honoring those players who played. You heard the profiles of those, like Tim Delaney, who two-time national champion at Villanova, another fellow who works for the NBA G League, several successful businessmen in the area. It shows that life after high school really does get better. But, these guys, look, 2 over 500 teams, Eastern 3-1 on the Young campaign. Pitman had a couple convincing wins over Pennsgrove and Burlington City in their home opener in that Pennsgrove tournament that they had to open up the season. But they were down by double digits versus Salem, and they had to claw their way back through thick and thin to win that game by 2 points, 64-62. And then they took home a win over Deptford by 6. But even if Eastern runs away with it tonight, and even if they win by 20, 30 points, look, it's not going to be about Eastern winning or Pitman losing. It's going to be about, first of all, Christmas Eve. It's December 23rd. This is going to ring in the holidays. And look, Pitman's got a couple of good games ahead of them. They play Gateway and Absegami in a holiday tournament on the 27th and 28th. They've got a couple of great squads. And Pitman, even if they take their first loss tonight, is still going to take it in stride. But crazier things have happened. Do not count out the Pitman Panthers. They know how to shoot the ball well. They know how to play good defense. And even though this team is a little bit older, they know how to play good basketball, and they know how to be efficient with the ball. With our starting lineups tonight, starting with Kevin Crawford, the head coach of the Eastern Regional Vikings, as we said, 3-1 on this young campaign. It's going to be the junior guard, Kadon Harper. Connor Henry's going to be running the 5. He's the junior center. Sam Winsett is the forward. He is the son of Coach Winsett, who coaches Eastern baseball. Senior guard, Damian Edwards, and senior forward, Max Portnoy. After that, for the Pitman Panthers, with Ron Meyer being the head coach, Jim Olston and Fred Gorget, the assistant coaches for this squad. There's the 3 guards, all juniors, Elijah Crispin, Trey Tinges, and Michael Fisicoro. Then the 2 senior forwards, Sonny Myers and Stephen Devaney. They're going to be running running the front court for this Panthers team this afternoon. They're going to play the national anthem, so we'll keep it here, and we'll honor the United States here in just a moment before we get on with some non-conference basketball. Eastern and Pitman coming up next.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars
Well, and that's a great national anthem right there. But, you know, these two teams, Eastern coming off of a couple good wins to start the year. They lost to Camden for their only loss of the season so far. But like I said, these two teams haven't played each other in nearly 10 years. February 22nd, 2014 was the last time that these two teams squared off against each other, with Eastern winning the contest 64-58. Eastern 3-1 this year, 1-0 in the Olympic American Division, with Pitman 4-0 undefeated in the Tri-County Conference Division.
At guard, shooter number 30, Kaden Harper. At center, shooter number 20, Connor Henry. At forward, senior number 3, Sam Winsett. At guard, senior number 2, Damian Edwards. And at forward, senior number 24, Max Portnoy. Eastern led by head coach Kevin Crawford.
And here's the Pitman starting five.
For the Pitman Panthers. At guard, junior number 3, Elijah Crispin. At guard, junior number 4, Trey Tinges. At guard, junior number 12, Michael Caro. At forward,
Yeah, we have these top rows reserved, so I don't know. John is the public address guy, but he's also the assistant AD. He has us up here, so I guess just try to find room. But we have the game on broadcast on the games on broadcast on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, so the film's all available there.
Yeah, go tell them if you want me to do it.
They probably still want you to do it, but it's just like it's there. Yeah. So there's your starting five for the Pitman Panthers and the Eastern Vikings. It's going to be a good matchup tonight. Again, Eastern 3-1 on the young season, with Pitman an undefeated 4-0, but a lot could change in the next 32 minutes. These two teams have spent almost 10,000 days without playing each other, and in the tip-off circle will be Sonny Myers for the Panthers, and for the Vikings, number 24, Max Portnoy. It is up, and we are underway. Eastern with the first possession. Damian Edwards on a rather small court here from Pitman. But hey, small school, small space. From the free-throw line, it is in and out off of Connor Henry. Rebounded by Elijah Crispin, one of the family members of a Pitman legend, Joe Crispin. Spent a short period of time in the NBA. Spent time with the Los Angeles Lakers and the Phoenix Suns in the early 2000s. Crispin steps back, goes back to Crispin, beyond the perimeter. He goes from deep range, and it's good! Elijah Crispin with the first bucket of the night for the for the Panthers, and that's going to make it 3-0. I mean, like we said, this is, you know, you don't have to beat around the bush to say that this is an uneven matchup. You've got a great Group 4 team, as there comes a shot from the paint from Max Portnoy. Big break up the floor here. Crispin again from deep range off the front of the rim. And it hits off of the center, Connor Henry. So it will still be orange ball. Inbounded by Myers, goes back out to Crispin. Trey Tinges gets caught up. Devaney in the corner, goes in from the paint. It's short. Rebounded by Devaney on the offense, and it's good again. 5-2. Like we said, there is nobody in the world that would tell you that this is an exactly even matchup. You've got one of the best in Group 4 versus one of the best in Group 1. I don't know how big Eastern's graduating class is, but it's probably about the size of Pitman High School. You know, a huge regional class. Here comes a fast break, one-on-one, passed up, and it's good after a couple hops. Gets in there from the guard, Damian Edwards. Eastern running a full court press, and the pass goes nowhere. That'll be white ball. I mean, hey, it's only been 2 minutes, but Eastern, I think, is getting their groove back after a little bit of a hurdle in the first couple of possessions. You know, Crispin hit that deep three with at least a decent contest to boot. But Eastern is definitely favoring that ball in the paint, as a good look from Connor Henry goes nowhere. Tinges passed up the middle, off high, off the glass, no good. Offensive board by Pitman, diving for it and keeping it in play is Devaney. Sends it back out to Crispin at half court. He's going to go off the contest. Who had the last touch on that? That will be orange ball. So Pitman will hang on to the possession after a couple of risky offensive boards. He gets Devaney off the inbound. Crispin gets a good look, goes back out for three, and it's good. Michael Fizzicaro running the three tonight. He's going to make it 8-4 in favor of the Panthers. Like we said, I mean, this is more of a symbolic game, at least from what you, I mean, when you look at it on paper, it's more of a symbolic game, especially because these guys, as that's going to be a travel on Eastern. Number 14 coming in for Eastern. We'll get those rosters loaded up. The Wi-Fi connection in here is not great, but actually, I was going to say, I think that's Logan Dawson in. An old classmate of mine back at Audubon. Devaney in double defense, and that's going to be a foul. I think that's going to be a blocking foul because that was not in the act of shooting, so Pittman's going to hang on to it. Off the inbound goes to Tinges. Back to Crispin. Crispin again from three-point range, and it's good. A big break for Pitman to start, 11-4. I mean, I'll tell you what, the Olympic American is one of the best divisions that there is in Jersey basketball, as that one rolls off the rim. I mean, maybe the luck is short-lived, but this is a great run, and Crispin high off the rim. Right now you're up by 6. Right now you're up by 7. I don't really see that deep of a shot being that necessary. Logan Dawson from three-point range. It's going to not go. Tries to keep it in, and it is out of bounds for a black ball. I mean, hey, Crispin he's hit his three-pointers before, but that's a little too deep for me to be comfortable with that. I mean, they've been off to a great 11-4 run in the first 4 minutes of the game, but the tides can turn at any minute. As on the steal, Max Portnoy, the forward, goes up and grabs it. Tinges. There's another steal. Momentum is swinging faster than we can talk about it. That one's going to go into the corner. In and out. A board by Fizzicaro. Goes back out to Fizzicaro from the elbow. No good. Devaney almost had the board, but taken in there. Goes into the corner for Dawson. Three is good. Oh, Chase Huggard, sorry. I thought it was Logan from a distance, but yeah, we're going to load up those rosters in a second, but like we said, the internet connection isn't great. Devaney has room. Looks like that'll be white ball. But talk about the tides turning. Pitman was up 11-4, and now that has changed real fast. Yeah, Dawson has gotten some limited playing time, but he was an old classmate of mine at Audubon. I'm a senior at Audubon this year, but before he moved to Eastern, we had a couple of classes together, and that one's off the glass and good. There's not much you can say about that. It was that's some great moves right there. And there's another steal. Eastern turning up the Jets from 3. No good. Off the glass, tries to put it back. Devaney gets a bounce pass in the corner. He's got room and tinges, no good. And Myers could not get the board. But now things are a lot different here. Trying to force a jump ball, and that is going to be a jump ball. That was risky there. That was very risky. I think Crispin, that could have been called a reach-in if he held in for another minute, or another second rather. But Eastern's only loss this year was to Camden, 60-47 on the 19th. They took wins over Shawnee, 64-60, West Tech, 55-53, and Cherry Hill East, 52-44 in a divisional matchup. Here comes a 3-ball. No good. It's short. Offensive board. Another 3. That time no good. Another offensive board by Portnoy. 3-on-1, and he's fouled on his way up. So it will be the senior Portnoy who will shoot 2 from the line. 529 points in his high school career going into today. 107 assists in his junior year in 2022 into 23. As that one bricks off the front of the rim. Keeping this game in a stalemate, 11 apiece. He's 4 for 10 from the line this year as that one goes to break the tie. It's 12-11 Eastern.
Dribble.
Crispin off the rim. Who got the last touch? That is going to be Eastern who will inbound with Chase Huggard, the junior. 119 points in his career, 23 this year, 12 boards, 13 assists in 4 games played. He has had minutes in all 4 of Eastern's games in this young season. Huggard goes in. Off the glass, it's good. From Damian Edwards. Edwards with 49, 15, and 9 this year. That's going to be a push on Eastern. After the holidays, Eastern plays another big school, Kingsway, on December 28th. And then they open the new year with 4 straight games on the road. Clearview, Glassboro, Mainland, and Lenape. On the break. Off the glass, no good. Board by Huggard. Huggard goes in. And a little bit of an uproar from the Pitman faithful. Goes to Crispin from 3-ball. It's good! Tie game. Taken in by Pittman's 6th man. Number 14 right there. 14-14, a lot closer of a game than I thought it would be in this first quarter, but Eastern is going to change the pace a little bit. Devaney guarding Portnoy, 8 to play. With a spinner, Edwards from 3, it's short. It's going to be a steal, a heave, and it hits off of the rafters to end the first quarter. I saw the ball disappear. I didn't know where it went. It hits the rafters, and after 8 minutes, it's going to be 14-14. A bit surprising, to say the least, but we're going to take a quick break here on DWB. Eastern and Pitman all locked up. We'll be right back. Well, at the end of the first quarter, this game is all tied up 14 apiece. A battle between big and small. As we said, I mean, Eastern's graduating class is almost the same size as Pitman High School. I mean, you've only got about 400 kids in grades 9 through 12. I mean, people talk about Pitman all the time. The fact that this school is almost 100 years old and they could be on the verge with a merger with Glassboro in the next couple of years. I don't know how that would go down, but both Pitman and Glassboro are really small schools that are lacking in numbers, and there may be a change in the next couple of years. That ball is no good. And number 0, I think, got the late touch, so he tried to back off. He tried to back off on that. So Porter Kostiak got the late touch. Greg Peterson in for the Panthers. Edwards moves to his left. They break it out to Portnoy. Huggard gets a fake pass here from 3 ball. It's no good. Rebound Edwards. From the paint, no good. Crispin has it.
Dribble.
They are really putting all of the pressure on Pitman right now as the heave to Devaney from the baseline goes back out to Greg Peterson. From the corner, Porter Kostiak, no good. Peterson tried to come in with a board, and that is going to be against Eastern, it looks like. But let's talk about those Eastern Vikings and the fact that they are in one of the most competitive divisions in South Jersey, the Olympic American. Last year, if we could pull up the graphic, all 5 teams in that division had an over 500 record. It's amazing to see how good that division was. I mean, obviously Lenape is one of the best teams in South Jersey, but you've also got some good contenders in Cherry Hill East, Rancocas Valley, Cherokee, as that ball is good from 3. And it's going to be 17-14 by Eastern. But, these guys, I mean, Pitman was in a division that had a team that only won 2 games. Salem Tech went 2-23 last year. Devaney in and out. This game's been pretty dominated by the 3 ball. They're going to go into the paint and a foul. But it's going to be an offensive foul. So that is going to be an that's going to be an offensive foul against Eastern. So Pitman will take the possession, and the shot is no good. 17-14. Huggard gets the possession back. Who got the last touch? Ron Myers not too happy with that one, and it's going to be Eastern who hangs on the possession with Huggard getting the inbound. I mean, last year, 2 out of the 3 divisions in the Olympic Conference had teams with all over 500 records. In the Olympic in the American and the National Division, there was not a single team that was under 500. Again, in the American, Lenape 22-8, Eastern, Cherry Hill East, Rancocas Valley, and Cherokee. This one goes out, and it's no good. Rebounded by Portnoy. Runs it up the floor with Edwards. Gets it in the paint with a pump fake, and it's good. 5-point lead for Eastern. Well, Pitman's offense went from red hot to ice cold, and Eastern's defense also stepped it up, and that is going to be a travel. I mean, we talked about this in our last broadcast, Lindenwold and Gloucester. When you make mistakes, you have to rebound off of them and not make the same mistakes. And, Pitman is not really adjusting well to that full court press. I would call it more 3/4 court, but, we saw that with Lindenwold. They did the same thing to Gloucester, and Gloucester was able to adapt from it. They were able to adjust at different positions of the court where they were being double-teamed, where they were being pressed, and they were able to rebound off of that and still break away for those wide-open threes. But Pitman hasn't really done the same. They took some great shots in some great contests, and now Eastern has kind of turned on the Jets a little bit, and they said, hey, look at this team that we're playing right now. We shouldn't really be having this. shouldn't really be having that problem. Portnoy subbing back in. A quick bench time for Eastern. Number 13, Keshawn Franklin, the freshman, going to the bench. Inbounded by, or will be inbounded by Huggard. Gets a high pass to the free throw line, in the paint, off the glass, no good. Double teamed outside the perimeter, and that is going to be a reach-in on Eastern. But also in that Olympic National Division, you also had Camden. Camden, I mean, one of the best teams in the state, but they took themselves out of the tournament last year after a altercation, a brawl had broken out between Camden and Camden Eastside. I mean, Camden, you know, they bring up Division I players, you know, they bring up Division I players like their breakfast. I mean, they have all of them. Billy Richmond just committed to Kentucky. Obviously, DJ Wagner and Aaron Bradshaw, a dynamic duo there for the Wildcats. A couple other guys have also committed to high-level D1 schools. I mean, the Blue Bloods, you know, they have almost half their roster is South Jersey products. But, you know, you think about the fact that here comes a three ball. It's no good. 1,500 points for Tim Delaney, who was a two-time national champion at Villanova. You don't see a lot of Division I products from these small schools. It's usually the bigger schools that have it, trying to set up a charge, but they don't get it. From the baseline, passes it out to Myers. Back to number 2. He was going to try it from 3, thought better of it. They're passing the rock really well after having some unfortunate steals. That one is bricked off the front of the rim. Rebounded by Eastern. Huggard has it again. Corner for Edwards. It's good. Damian Edwards helps extend that lead to 8 for the Vikings as Pitman still has not scored in this quarter.
Dribble.
They scored 14 in the first quarter, have gone 0 in the entire first segment of this second quarter. That's no good. Taken in by by Myers. The shot went, but I think this one's going to be called off. Timeout called by the Vikings. 3:10 remaining in the first half, and Pitman has gone cold here in the second quarter, just like the weather outside. It's 22-14, 3:10 to play in the first half. We'll be right back here on DWB. Tommy D's Home Design Center has opened a second location on Creek Road in Belmar, operating in Philadelphia for over 25 years and now expanding into South Jersey. Tommy D's is the place to go for kitchen cabinets, countertops, and cabinet accessories, heavily discounted compared to big box retailers. Stop in, take a seat, and watch as our experienced kitchen designer makes the kitchen of your dreams right in front of you. Tommy D's is the best in the business for quality kitchen countertops and cabinets that fit all budgets. Call us today at 856-210-9504 or visit the new location in person on the corner of Creek Road and Harding Avenue in Belmar next to the 42 on-ramp. .310 to play in the second. Eastern has jumped out to an 8-point lead after not leading at all during the first quarter. The momentum has really swung the other way as Hudson Rue passes the rock out to Crispin. Back on the floor. Most of the starters, with the exception of Rue. Tinges is still out there. Sonny Myers in the front court. Gets it to Rue. He has room from the free throw line. Now from the top of the key. It is no good. Pitman again still 0 points in this second quarter, and that one goes to make it an even 10-point lead for the Vikings. I mean, Pitman's problem right now is that they are really being just bullied by the Eastern defense. They're giving up a lot of steals. They're giving up a lot of bad opportunities that Eastern is just eating up on. You know, one of the biggest things that is the difference between winning and losing is how you respond to adversity. And Pitman right now, after kind of riding high in that first quarter, has really let reality set in the second quarter. And that'll be something that Ron Myers and his crew are going to have to talk about in this halftime break. As Devaney off the glass, no good. Who got the last touch? It's going to be, I think, Eastern ball. It actually will be Pitman ball with Crispin on the inbound. Don't forget, folks, our next broadcast will be a week from today after the holidays, December 30th. It's an out-of-conference matchup between GCIT and Gloucester. And then we'll ring in the new year with Wildwood and Gloucester Catholic on January 4th. Devaney passing it out from beyond the three-point line. Here comes a board. Who's going to save it? Going into the stands is Sonny Myers, but it's going to be for naught as Eastern gets the rebound, or gets the steal, rather. And that will be a travel on the Vikings. Man. So, Sonny Myers almost gave somebody an insurance bill in the third row. That one goes out to Tinges. With 100 seconds to play in the half. Moving quickly here. Tip-off was at 12:05. A couple minutes behind schedule. Devaney had an open look. He's going to go off the glass. I mean, you can't rely on the three ball, but at the same time, that looked like a pretty open look to me. So it's those split-second decisions that really make or break what this score is. I mean, Pitman, if they hold out on these next 80 seconds and don't score for an entire quarter, that's going to be a big talking point for Ron Myers. You know, that's going to be a big talking point for his starting five and for everybody that's going to get minutes. They're going to be, you know, hey, we're giving up these opportunities when we really shouldn't be. Pitman wanted a foul there. They get the breakaway. Crispin from three, fouled. It is no good. They're going to stop the clock with 58 seconds remaining. So this could be a three-point play if Crispin makes all his shots. So he will shoot three from the line. But while we're at it, let's talk about what Pitman was in last year. They were right around 500 and third in the Tri-County Classic Division as Crispin makes his first. Let's bring up that graphic real quick of the divisional standings last year from that Pitman squad and what they had in the Tri-County Classic Division. You know, Wildwood and Gloucester Catholic were really the mainstays, but Pitman, Salem, and Clayton were all hanging around 500. And Clayton, that's going to be real fun. They run the Grinnell College offense, the run and gun, where they have like the hockey-style subs. They've scored 110 points in a game before. It is some of the craziest basketball you're ever going to see. When they played Pitman earlier this year, it was 108-60 was the final score. I think it was 108-80, sorry. But still, Pitman got the last touch. Actually, no, Eastern got the last touch on that one, so that will go out of bounds for Crispin to inbound. 24-16 as Crispin makes 2 of 3, the first points of the quarter for the home side Panthers. Devaney from mid-range. It now goes out to Crispin. Gets jammed up a little bit. He goes from deep and no good. Offensive board. Rue gets up for it off the glass. No good. Would have had a great opportunity to turn the tide right there, but just couldn't hang on to that. Oh, that one's going to go the other way. Crispin on the fast break. He is up, and he is good. Brings it home. And it now makes it a 6-point game. Pitman kind of waking themselves up after being dormant for most of the second quarter. After this, we'll have the Garden State Pet Center halftime show. 3 to play. On his way up, no good, and it will be a buzzer-beating layup to end the first half. It will count, so at the end of the first half, it will be Pitman 18, Eastern 26. We'll see y'all in 10 minutes with more out-of-conference basketball. Pitman wakes up in the final minute. However, they still trail by 8 after 2. Tommy D's home. Garden State Pet Center is an independently owned full-service pet store. Our specialty is promoting companionship between people and animals by providing the healthiest product choices available, including all-natural foods, supplements that support and relieve health issues, and innovative products for pet parents. Our goal is to provide our customers with a relaxing environment, and while we're not striving to be the biggest store on the East Coast, we're striving to be the best. No other pet store will make you feel at home like we do. At Garden State Pet Center, we view pets as members of the family. We don't believe in fast, high-pressure sales, but instead matching up the right pet with the right owners, as you are making a lifelong commitment. Together with our team members, we would like your visit to our store to be both enjoyable and educational. Simply drop in and take a look around. View the birds, reptiles, small animals, toys, food, cages, and miscellaneous items. Learn of the services we have to offer and decide for yourself if this is the store you'd like to call your home away from home.
Victor Santucci, owner of Garden State Pet Center. Visit us today at 226 South Whitehorse Pike in Audubon, New Jersey. We're open 7 days a week for all of your pets' needs.
At the end of the first half, Pitman went cold, but got some life rejuvenated into them. It is 26-18. Eastern leads by 8. You know, I think many thought that the outcome of the JV game would have been the same as the varsity, you know, considering that they're, before we got on the air, it was like a 28-30 point lead that Eastern had, but Pitman has been holding their own. For a small Group 1 school with guys that aren't exactly basketball exclusive, these guys are holding their own versus one of the best in the business. As that's a 3 ball, that's good. And that's the way that Pitman wanted to start the third quarter. You know, they had off to a hot start in the first. They didn't really have that same life in the second quarter, and now that Ron Myers has talked to them over the break, that gives them a little bit more leeway, and maybe Kevin Crawford tells their guys the same things, but that's going to be a foul. That ball was good from the corner, Michael Fizzacaro. Or Fizzacaro, rather. The 5'11" junior. That shot is off the front of the rim by Edwards. Fizzacaro with 458 points, 145 boards, and 142 assists, as that one was off the front of the rim. Good effort there by Myers. A big staple of that. Yeah. No, wow. That was a roller coaster of emotions for the home fans because they thought it was a walk, and then they thought it was I personally thought it was a blocking foul on Pitman, but it goes the other way. But those blocks and charges are some of the most heavily. Whoa! I think the police officer was the sixth man on the court there, but that one is, I guess you could say, incomplete. It's a shame Kyle Kubat doesn't play basketball. A minute elapsed in this third quarter. Eastern leads by 5. Again, folks, don't forget our last broadcast of the year will be GCIT and Gloucester, 12 o'clock start on December 30th. Myers giving Huggard a real tough time on defense. Edwards gets a good look, and it is good. Takes a victory lap. Eastern 28, Pitman 21. With a full court press, passes it down, and yeah, that's a couple of bad passes there. And it's just, I don't know what it is, but when they're doing these full court presses, they're just hanging onto the ball. They're not dribbling it. They're not, like, they're passing it around like a hacky sack and a hot potato. But you need to dribble the ball in order to advance. I just don't really see the practicality in that. Damian Edwards with a wide open 3 ball makes it a 10-point game in favor of the Vikings. Bounce pass with authority goes over to Devaney, but no, it gets taken away. Talk about a game of hot potato right here. Fizzacaro from mid-range, no good. Offensive board. They wanted a jump ball there. Goes back out to Tinges. Devaney, 3 ball. It's gone. Stephen Devaney makes it 31-24 as Pitman is clawing their way back into this game. Again, the biggest deficit of the night was 12. And then Pitman has halved that at least a little bit. Tipped away. And almost by accident, that was a great look in the corner. Huggard was wide open from 3, and it goes up and in for Portnoy. Both of these teams have been getting a lot of good looks from the perimeter, and that is going to be a foul on Eastern. This year, Eastern is tied for first in the Olympic American, tied with Lenape at 3-1, 1-0 each in divisional games. Cherokee and Rancocas Valley are tied behind them, 2-2. Cherry Hill East rounds out that division at 2-4. Shockingly this year, Camden Catholic in the National Division, they are 1-3. Eustis 2-2. They had a great playoff run a couple of years ago. Camden Eastside and Camden, the Panthers, both 3-0 as that one rolls off. And then Paul Sixth, 3-1 in that Olympic National Division. 3-on-1 from 3. It's good. Huggard gets that look to go. From deep, off the front of the rim. And I was going to say, I think that's an over-the-back foul right there. Pitman in their Tri-County Classic Division, they are 4-0, tied for first with Gloucester Catholic. Wildwood in third at 2-1, Salem 1-2, Clayton 1-3, with Salem Tech being 0-4 on the young campaign. They only had 2 wins last year, had an abysmal 2-23 record. Huggard trying to time it right. Great defense from Myers in the corner. No good. Put back, second chance, rolls out. Oh, that one is taken away. Huggard tries to force the foul. Bounced over from mid-range, gets a great look, and it's in. Timeout's going to be called by Myers with 3:25 remaining in the third. I mean, you don't get more wide open of a look from mid-range than that. I mean, you've got some great mid-range specialists on this Eastern team, including number 30, Caden Harper Myrick's, the junior, who just recorded his 200th career high school point on the 21st versus Cherry Hill East. But we're going to keep it here with 3:24 to play in the third quarter. Eastern leads by 14, their biggest lead of the afternoon. But this has been a good game, especially in that first segment, first quarter. Pitman jumped out to an 11-4 breakaway lead, and then they kind of got humbled a little bit, if you will. I wouldn't say that they completely froze up, but there was a point where there were 2 minutes left in the second quarter, and they had scored a point in that quarter. So it was a little bit worrisome, but they've clawed back a little bit. But Eastern has been Eastern has been dominant on both ends of the floor, especially in this third quarter, and that's only going to help their case going into the fourth. Greg Peterson gets a pass here to Elijah Crispin. Moving his feet. So that is going to be moving screen, kind of a blocking foul there on Eastern. That rolls in for the Panthers. It is 38-26. We will be back here for another Pitman Panthers game in February as they take on the Overbrook Rams towards the tail end of the regular season in some inter-division matchups. Still in the Tri-County Conference. That one rolls out, and somehow he kept that one in. That was by the skin of his teeth. Almost a tough break for the Vikes, but they hang on to it. Huggard. Back out to Winsett. And that is going to be a foul on Crispin. So Mybricks will shoot from the line with Eastern in a 12-point lead. First one goes. The little fellas in the student section making themselves heard, but to no avail as that first free throw goes. Myrick's will try it again. Second one doesn't go. That's a great crowd over there. Porter Kostiak. Peterson, 3. Rolls in and out. Kostiak almost had the board. 3 ball. Rolls out. There's been a lot of bricks in the third quarter. He goes down, no foul. They keep it in. Crispin almost had to reach in there. He had to be careful. Goes to Huggard, and back to Portnoy. Edwards running the 1. He does not have it. Man. A lot of missed shots, a lot of missed opportunities, but it's kept this game relatively low scoring. You know, when we saw Lindenwold and Gloucester in our first game of the year, it was 73 to 60 was the final in that game, and this game has been worlds different than what that was, as Huggard brings the ball in for the Vikings with a minute to play in the third. Here on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, this broadcast is brought to you by Tommy D's Home Improvement, the place to be for wholesale kitchen cabinets and countertops at heavily discounted rates compared to big box retailers. As the 3 ball, Myrick's, it's good on the low arc. And that was dangerously close to being a 4-point play, but the sophomore brings it in for the Vikings, and that makes it 42-28. As we were saying, Tommy D's Home Improvement, wholesale kitchen cabinets and countertops at a great rate compared to big box retailers. Visit today on the corner of Creek Road and Harding Avenue in Belmar, 612 Creek Road, next to the 42 on-ramp. This broadcast is also brought to you by Vincent's Lawn Care. Winter cleanup now available. Call today at 609-413-0403. And if you are a small business owner interested in becoming a sponsor of Dan Wilkins Broadcasting, we have 6 month plans available for as little as $150. It helps us out with buying new equipment, and also because I'm a senior in high school, it helps with my college fund. So anything is appreciated. Even if you're not a small business owner, we do have a Venmo at DW-Broadcasting if you'd like to contribute and help us, not just me with my college fund, but also with helping us get new equipment, and also with gas money, because, you know, I mean, Pitman is not right around the corner for me. It's about 20 minutes away. You know, any contribution helps. We run almost solely off of sponsorships and donations. We have not applied for LLC status yet, but we will be doing that in the next couple of months. But not just myself, but my entire crew works incredibly hard to make these broadcasts a possibility. So anything is appreciated, especially around this time of year. This one goes to Peterson. That is a foul on his way up. Peterson. Oh, Fizzicaro, sorry, number 12. But all of the commercials you see on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting are filmed by myself, edited by our crew. We do a great job of doing commercials for small businesses in the area. Cheapest option for that is $250 for 6 months to be aired once per game. $500 for 6 months gets you a segment of the game, just like the Garden State Pet Center halftime show. Along with that, there's also the added perk of getting your commercial played twice per game. We have a lot of sponsors that are interested in our services. We're waiting to film commercials for a few of them, so hop on the boat and send us an email at thedanwilkinsshow@gmail.com. We also have that email linked in the description of all of our YouTube videos if you'd like to reach out and contact us. That'll be a walk. A walk in the park forces a turnover as it's 42-29. Yeah, Vince, I think that's 42-29 on the board, unless yeah. I was going to say Fizzicaro made 1 of 2. Again, Pitman really has to adapt to that full court press. They weren't doing it originally, and then as soon as they started doing it, Pitman didn't really know what to do, and they just ran into some issues. Crispin gets the pass back to himself in double trouble, and that pass was going towards Devaney and Sean Powell over there. 1 second to play in the third. They'll have time for a heave unless this inbound goes a long way. Eastern and Pitman live on Dan Wilkins Broadcasting. At the tail end of the third quarter, half-court heave, no good. Don't think it would have counted anyway, but at the end of the third quarter, Eastern leads by 13, but Pitman not bowing out yet. With 8 minutes to play, we'll be right back here on DWB. Well, look who has blended in with the general population. It's one of our own reporters and one of our assistant crew members, Brian Tortella. He has made the trip from Paulsboro to Pitman. And also in the crowd tonight is NJ.com reporter Kevin Minnick in the Tennessee hoodie. One of the best to ever do it, Kevin Minnick. He is one of the best reporters that you'll ever see, regardless of state or region. There's not much better than Kev. So a lot of media in the house tonight. But there weren't too many games today being played. The day before Christmas Eve, a lot of people still have to wrap their presents, and yeah. Vince, you said you still have to wrap yours. I am all done. There's actually there's somebody that I know in West Deptford who wraps people's presents for a fee. If you don't know how to wrap, it's really interesting. But I'm sure she makes a lot of money off of that. Max Portnoy will shoot from the line with 7:45 to play. First one's good. No, I am all done my Christmas wrapping, but I'm sure I'm one of a minority in that, because there were some years where I was wrapping the gifts on Christmas morning. That'll be a jump ball. But while we're at it, let's take a look at some out-of-town scores. Your out-of-town scoreboard presented by KP1 Designs. Get your commission quote today on his X page / Twitter. That's going to be a walk on Pitman. Yeah, really not a lot of games today. Don Bosco Prep is playing IMG Academy in the City of Palms Classic down in Miami, Florida, but Lower Cape May plays Wildwood at 3:45. And really that's it for, Archbishop Central of Pennsylvania plays Middle Township at 5:30. But that's really it. And obviously Christmas Eve and Christmas are off days, and then all the holiday tournaments start on the 26th. For last night's games, though, on Friday the 28th, had some good ones. Gloucester Catholic edged out Woodbury 45-43. Washington Township took down Winslow by almost 30, 65-34. Florence took down Pennsauken Tech 69-27, as that three ball is good. That goes a long way for Connor Henry, the center. Hitting the three ball, and that is going to be Kevin Crawford. Don't know what that was all about, but I don't know. But Pitman gets the possession back. They'll hold the possession. That is blocked. Edwards picks it up. Crosses midcourt. He breaks away, and it rolls in and out. Kip Cooper beat New Egypt 54-38. Oh, it's in! Talk about some great passing, even down by 14. A great pass by accident there. Sets it up for Hudson Rue. Oh, man. That was an early 2000s NBA pass if I've ever seen one. Timeout's going to be called by Kevin Crawford. While we're at it, let's go over some more out-of-town scores. Delran beat Palmyra in a close one, 51-48. You've got Overbrook beating Clearview 51-42 to hold on to their 4-0 record. Cherry Hill East took down Pleasantville 79-53. Haddonfield took down ACIT 96-38. Leap Academy beat Cedar Creek in a one-possession game, 45-42. Egg Harbor Township beat Hamilton, 44-36. Trenton Catholic beat Burlington City, 77-62. St. Augustine beat Holy Spirit by 30 points, 60-30. Millville beat Vineland, 70-53. Along with that, our last game that we'll mention, Atlantic City beat Williamstown, 57-39. But there are going to be some great games after Christmas, after all the presents are said and done. On the 26th, there will be Cherry Hill East and Mastery Camden, Willingboro and Cherry Hill West. There's going to be Dover that's Dover and Lenape Valley. That's North Jersey. Barnegat and Bridgeton. You've got Atlantic City and Egg Harbor, and then Cape May Tech and Wildwood to start off those holiday tournaments. For me, I will be covering the Audubon Holiday Tournament as a member of the public address crew on the 27th and 28th for the boys and for the girls. But our next broadcast will not be until the 30th versus GCIT. Inbounded by Portnoy. Portnoy is going to get himself another open look. Putting himself back into the play, out towards midcourt, out towards the Panther paw. From three, Damian Edwards, good. And that will strike another hammer into the nail as Crispin passes it out to Fizzicaro, and Rue drops it. Who's going to get the last touch? It's going to be Pitman, and it will go back the other way. Trying to catch those passes with one hand. It's like trying to catch a football with one hand. It's coming straight at you, and you don't know what's coming, and it's in and out. That's what happens. That'll be another turnover. Winsett inbounds and goes out to Portnoy, way out in no man's land. Winsett out at the Panther paw. 3-on-1, but he forces a wide open look, and it's no good. Gets a brick off the back of the rim. Attempted by the center, Connor Henry. Rue. I mean, hey, these guys are down by 16. Eastern wanted a blocking or charge, and it's good. Three ball is good from Hudson Rue. I mean, look, Eastern is up by a good bunch. They're up by 15, or rather by 14 right now, but Pitman is not giving them they're not giving them the freebies, except for that one. That's about as free of a three-pointer that you can get right there. Wide open look in the corner. Crispin up off the glass and out, but he will shoot two. It's only 100 days until the baseball season opens for DWB on April 1st, 2024. Tune in for some Central versus North action as the Rancocas Valley Red Devils square off against the Bridgewater Raritan Panthers on opening day of the season. We already released our first week schedule of 2024. It's going to be Audubon and Paulsboro on April 2nd, West Morris and Bernards on April 3rd. It's going to be Audubon and Haddonfield in the home opener on the April 4th, and then we'll be having on April 5th for Friday Night Lights. It is the Glassboro Bulldogs and the Pitman Panthers from Alcyon Park, 6 o'clock start time. That will be our first of 4 Pitman Panther games this year. That includes Overbrook on May 10th and the Joe Lang tournament that we'll be covering for a second year in a row. Some new teams in the mix this year. No more Gateway and Glassboro. However, there's another one. A nice look up the middle. Edwards got it. Makes it 53 for the Vikings as they go up by 17. They're trying to play a good hurry-up offense here with 4.5 minutes to play. Crispin gets a pass to Devaney from the baseline, passes it up to Jones, or rather to Myers, Sonny Myers. Fizzicaro, nice look to Myers. That's what you call good court vision right there. You make a good look for yourself, you get yourself open, and then somebody just has to pass you the ball, and then you lay it up. Simple as that. Blocked, but that's going to be a foul. Ugh. That could have gone either way, but I think there was contact, so that will be a shooting foul. Rue had the breakaway, but obviously that's not going to count. But yes, we will be covering the Joe Lang Classic for the second year in a row. Again, no more Gateway and Glassboro in this year's tournament. Instead, the Group 4 Pennsauken Indians and the GCIT Cheetahs will be included. The Gloucester Lions are back in it for a second year after winning the Joe Lang Classic last year. I mean, talk about winning 2 tournaments in the same year. You win your home field Jim Kelly tournament, and then you also win the Joe Lang in the same month. That shot rolls in and out. We'll also be covering the Gloucester Lions in their scrimmage versus Atlantic Tech on March 29th. We've got a good group of scrimmages coming up. Here comes a shot. Fizzicaro. I was going to say, they were just that close to getting the offensive board. Ball comes out. Goes back to Huggard. Bounce pass. Takes 2 hops. 2 hops this time. 54-38. 16-point lead for the Vikings. Passes it up the middle with a little bit of trouble. Up. And he is fouled on his way up. I think I saw contact there. But that is, again, just like the last foul call. That's going to be close. And you're going to have some people dissatisfied with your calls, but mano a mano, 6 one way, half a dozen another. Portnoy bricks the first shot. This has been a relatively low-scoring game until the end. I mean, only 14-14 at the end of the first, and then the second quarter just had good scoring from Eastern, not really great scoring from Pitman. I mean, they only took in maybe a half dozen points. They only actually took in 4 points for that entire 8-minute second quarter. But I think that's the difference, is that Eastern ran away with it in the second quarter, and that, although it may not have been the most glaring moment, that was when Pitman really lost their way. Goes up. Rue got it with 3 minutes to play. 3 minutes and a chunk of change in regulation, and that pass is off the back wall. But this team for Pitman is filled with a lot of guys, especially they're going to have to replace their entire front court next year. Devaney graduating, Sonny Myers graduating. They at least have 1 more year with Crispin, Tinges, and Fizzicaro, who starts, stops, and goes again. Rue, 3-ball no good. With a 15-point lead now for the Vikings. Goes up the middle. Oh! No foul there. Goes back. Myers, that's going to be timeout by Myers. So Sonny Myers got the steal, and then Ron Myers calls himself time. 2 timeouts remain for the Panthers, 3 for the Vikings. We'll take a quick break. 2 minutes and 45 seconds remain in regulation. We'll be right back. Pitman trails by 15. There's the big old Panther up on the wall with all the individual state champs dating back to 1942. The most recent one was in 2022 with Catriona Galvin, who won the state championship in discus and track and field. Oh, jeez. $1,000 phone, don't want to drop that. Hudson Rue passes it up to Crispin again with Eastern still leading by 15. They have been running that full court press almost all night, stolen by Huggard. Huggard spins around. Myrick's, no. I thought he was going to go for 3 right there. But now Eastern's going to try to chew the clock a little bit, make sure that Pitman gets as few possessions as possible in these last 2 minutes, as that one is good. On a nicely contested shot by Devaney, but it doesn't go. Devaney's got a little bit of an 80s mullet rocking. That shot is knocked down. That pass is knocked down. Crispin is down, but he gets back up. Doesn't seem to be limping or anything. Myrick's off the glass. No good. That will go back the other way. Eastern with a win today would improve to 4-1. Again, the next 5 for these two clubs. For the Panthers, their next 5 will be at home to Gateway and Absegami, and then on the road to Wildwood on the 4th, at home to Gloucester Catholic on the 8th, and on the road at Triton on the 12th. Keeps it rolling to number 11's. Devaney goes up, and he's got it. He hasn't had many points tonight, but he gets himself a layup there with a minute and a chunk of change left. Huggard rolls it across. Eastern still hanging on to it with a minute to play now. Myrick's 3 ball, well off the mark. That'll be Pitman's ball. Pitman would get their first loss of the year, falling to 4-1, but still a good run regardless that they've had. Eastern's next 5 games, they play at home to Kingsway on the 28th, but then the next 4 are on the road. Clearview on January 2nd, Glassboro on the 5th, Mainland and Linwood on the 7th, and Lenape in a divisional rivalry matchup. Remember, Lenape won the American Division last year with a strong 22-8 record, and Lenape year in and year out is one of the best teams in South Jersey. They've got a great track record on them, and that will be a great game, 6 o'clock on January 9th, and then they are at home to CCTS on January the 11th. So some great games ahead. There's also an in-season tournament where they play Heightstown of Central Jersey. 57.9 seconds to play. Hudson Rue inbounds it. Pitman passing the rock here in the last minute. Goes to Kostiak. He's got the entire Eastern defense on him, and he gets fouled. Man. So Porter Kostiak will shoot 2 from the line to try to salvage a score a little bit. 57-42 in favor of the Vikings. He makes his first, no problem. .40 seconds. Logan Dawson, 3 ball. The Vikings quarterback gets himself some action late in this hoops match. Again, an old classmate of mine, Logan Dawson. Good to see him doing well. That is a board. Dawson has had limited playing time this year, but he will be getting one of the last touches for the Vikings in the last 10 seconds. 60-43 is where this one is going to close. Eastern goes to 4-1. Pitman also goes to 4-1. 2 great teams duking it out. And it was the second quarter that ended up being the turning point after Pitman had tied the game with a 11-4 run. Eastern clawed their way back at the end of the first. And at the end of the day, Eastern rather unsurprisingly, is the one who comes out on top, but they had to work a lot harder for it than many had thought they had. So Eastern will take this one by 17. Our next broadcast will be December 30th as the GCIT Cheetahs square off against the Gloucester Lions in a Gloucester on Gloucester matchup from the Gloucester City home gym. From everybody at the Dan Wilkins Broadcasting the crew, whether you celebrate Christmas or just a holiday in general, we wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday, a Happy New Year if we don't see you. Again, our next broadcast is on the 30th, to be followed by January 4th, Gloucester Catholic and Wildwood. But very grateful for what we have been able to accomplish this year. I wouldn't have imagined that I would be doing basketball matches this time last year. A lot has changed. We've doubled our subscriber count since this year, sitting now at 1,400 and counting. So big thanks to everybody who's made this possible. But we'll be signing off for the last time before Christmas. So unwrap your gifts. Have yourself a wonderful time with your family. And until next time, from everybody on our DWB crew, my graphics crew, Gavin Van Rel, Caleb Lane, and Liam Nolan, our social media coordinators, Anthony DePalma and Gavin Van Rel, my wonderful producer, Vincent Folks, I'm Dan Wilkins. We'll see you next Saturday on the 30th, GCIT in Gloucester. Until next time, that's all for us, folks. Enjoy your Christmas. Enjoy your holidays. We'll see you next time.